So I want to talk a little bit about my experience in the Boundary Waters. So first, when I was planning this trip, my primary goal was to go to the Ely side of the Boundary Waters. But, I had some back and forth with my planning and my wife, trying to find out what worked best for the family. When it came time to, get my permit, I wanted to go in off of Fall Lake. I believe it's EP24. Could be wrong about that, but Fall Lake, everything was booked up for July and August. So I had a buddy named Jamie that I met online in the Boundary Waters Facebook group, and he suggested SAG EP55 off of the Gunflint Trail, and to use Voyager Canoe Outfitters. They were absolutely phenomenal. They are really busy, with the surplus of people that are in the Boundary Waters this summer, but they are very detail oriented, and they did a great job, for someone like myself who was a first timer, breaking everything down, getting me ready for my trip. So some horror stories. I was on the water for 3.5 days. I base camped. Also, I went about this solo. I didn't have anyone with me. I got a tow out to Sag Falls and base camp there. So my first day on the water or camping, I was fishing from camp, and I lost an expensive lure, what I deemed to be expensive, whopper plopper. And it was the only one in this color I had, so I went to jump in my canoe, and I put my canoe in the water. I got in. Luckily, I had my vest on, and the canoe was kind of stuck on a rock, so I made a rookie mistake. This is my first time in a solo canoe. Never been in a solo canoe before. I've been in tandem canoes, which are a lot bigger, a lot more stable. But I'm in this solo canoe. I'm standing up. If you guys can picture this horrible rookie mistake, I'm standing up and I'm like rocking the canoe forward, trying to get it off of a rock. So what happens? I get off the rock and whoop, the canoe slips. So I fall in the water. I didn't have a bunch of gear in the canoe, thank God. I didn't hit my head on a rock, thank God. I had my PFD on, thank God. And, I was able to get the canoe back to shore. Actually tried to put it out again and fell again, and didn't get my lure back. So, I was pretty bummed, and I felt like they rented me a faulty canoe. I wanted to blame the outfitters. So the first day I stayed in camp. I set up my camp. I fished from shore, didn't really catch much. I think I maybe caught like 5 fish, and I stayed from shore, stayed in shore, at camp fishing and hanging out, reading. I got a chance to read a book, and so the second day, Lake Sag is had some motor use on it. A friend of mine, Jamie, came pick me up. He has a motorboat, and we fished. And we were looking for smallmouth, but we weren't able to find a consistent bite. And, we moved around a bunch, but we were only fishing bays because the wind was really bad on Sag. Honestly, I think looking back, I think it was a bit too much for me for the canoe. And I think, hopefully there's a next time I'm going to take a look at some smaller lakes, maybe portage into some smaller lakes. I love the Gunflint Trail. But maybe thinking about some smaller lakes to make it, more accessible and just easier to travel. Because I was also like, when the wind picks up on Sag, I was like, I really don't want to travel like that. But fishing with Jamie, we probably caught, I probably caught like 35 or 40 smallmouth for the day. So a good day of fishing, but I still had this feeling of like, man, I read so much about how awesome the fishing is in the Boundary Waters. And I was disappointed, to be honest. I was like, thought I was going to be catching smallmouth on every cast. If I cast towards the shore using a crankbait or a leech, I thought I would, catch smallmouth all day long. And it wasn't until the third day, I had a moment with myself. I said, hey, I need to get myself back in that canoe and, and get over my fear. Because at this point I had a fear. I'm like, if I get in this canoe, I'm going to tip it. So there was a very small bay. So on the third day, I said, you know what, I'm going to get in the canoe. And I'm just going to paddle in the bay near my campsite. And after I do that, I was like right across from Sag Falls. I said, I'm going to, make the trip, cross that little area, portage over Sag Falls, and basically go down the Granite River. And wow, I am so happy that I challenged myself to do this, because the third day was lights out fishing. You know, it was the best fishing day I've ever had in my life. I went up the Granite River. I did 2 portages. I did the portage on Sag Falls and the portage on Horseshoe Rapids, I believe. And then I basically went up a few miles up the Granite River, and I fished some bays along the way. And, you know, one particular place, I remember just kind of parking the canoe and walking up, you know, this rock ledge and catching, you know, 20, 30 smallmouth, literally sight fishing them using a Senko. The wind did start pick up, and Granite River is a little bit wider than I thought it was. I thought it'd be, you know, a small river, but it was actually, you know, quite wide at some of its widest points. So I decided about 12 o'clock that I was going to head back. So I head back, and I remember, you know, I read a bunch of forums and Facebook groups and things like that. I remember a guy by the name of Michael Teach said, fish moving water. And this, ladies and gentlemen, was knockout. This was like absolutely killer. So I'm sharing this spot. You know, if you go to Sag and you find yourself near the Granite River, you know, park your canoe by the Horseshoe Rapids and fish the top of the rapids and fish the bottom of the rapids. You know, that was my first stop on the way back, and I probably caught 40 to 50 smallmouth just in that spot. You know, with the smallest probably being 12 to 13 inches and the biggest being 19 inches. Had to be a 4-pounder. She was really fat, had a good girth to her, but unfortunately my scale wasn't working, but I did have tape measures. She was about 19 and a half inches. So I fished the Horseshoe Rapids, and I would just walk up and down the rapids and just cast, and I used a Senko. I didn't get into a topwater bite. I probably could have caught them on topwater, but it was so addictive to catch them on Senkos that I was like, you know, why would I tie anything else on? So I did that, and then I went up to Sag Falls, and I fished the top of Sag Falls and the bottom. And the top of Sag Falls was, you know, was productive, and probably caught like 5 or 10. But again, I went to the bottom of Sag Falls, and again, lights out. You know, 25, 30 fish, 40 fish. I really don't remember. I was probably catching fish once every 3 to 4 casts, realistically, with a few times catching them back to back. And yeah, it was just lights out fishing. You know, the only reason why I stopped fishing is because the sun was going down, and I didn't want to be traveling at night. You know, I'm still consider myself a beginner and a novice, and obviously having that I fell those few times, I didn't want to like. I didn't want to test it out. So I think I caught close to 100 bass that day. So, you know, I went back to camp. And another thing I want to speak about is, you know, the Border 1 skies. Basically, you know, dark skies is some of the darkest skies on the Gunflint Trail that you'll see. So if you are interested in astrophotography, for me, I took some photos of the night sky. The Milky Way was so bright. Mars, Jupiter, Venus, you could all see them with the naked eye. I had binoculars, I had my camera set up, took a time lapse, took some photos, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. You know, if you want to, you know, get some good star photos or just star viewings, I would say go, you know, near the new moon phase, which is opposite of a full moon. You know, you want to go during a new moon, or you want to pay attention to when the moon sets and then when the moon rises. For me, I wasn't there in the new moon, but the moon, it rose at about 12 a.m. every night, and the astronomical darkness was about 10 p.m. So I would take a nap because the mosquitoes were bad about 8:30. I would take a nap until about 9:45. I would come out of my tent and I would just sit at camp and, you know, watch the stars from about 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. and then I would go to bed. And man, the stars were awesome. You know, I don't think I had a great trip. There's a lot of lessons I learned. One, always wear your PFD. You know, because I fell. I didn't really get into cooking a bunch. You know, Jamie was gracious enough to feed me burgers while he was on this boat, and I made I boiled some, you know, some backpacker meals at camp. I didn't get to eat any walleye. I would love to do that again. I really don't eat smallmouth. From New Jersey, and we kind of are catch and release. So, you know, I'm not a smallmouth guy in terms of eating. But I think, you know, next trip, I'm really hoping I could get back next summer. I think I want to, you know, I would love to do the Gunflint Trail again. You know, maybe it's going to be Eli, but I think I want to focus on some smaller lakes. And for me, you know, fishing is like the number one reason why I'm there. So my goal is to find moving water, find rapids, find, you know, where one lake pours into another, or where a river pours into a lake pours into a river, or, you know, something like that, because the fishing was completely, you know, it was fantastic. It was phenomenal. I had an awesome time, and yeah, so thanks for checking this out. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna include some of the I'm gonna include my fishing videos. So again, I'll say that, you know, moving water was the ticket. You know, when I found moving water, I found smallmouth bass, and a guy by the name Michael Teach, you know, he put it on the forums. He's big on that. He fishes a lot, and he's one of the reasons why I went to the Boundary Waters. So, you know, if you're looking for smallmouth, I think walleye, they say come in at night, but if you're looking for smallmouth, find moving water. And fish that moving water, the top of the falls, the bottom of the falls, and, you know, I think that you'll find fish if, you know, the lake supports the population of those fish. But now I'm going to include some video with me fishing that moving water. You know, I'm a novice. This trip was amazing. If you have any questions specifically about my trip, feel free to hit me up.
He smoked that thing. Oh my gosh. Yo, this is stupid. Listen, Mr. Fish, I'm gonna put you back, buddy. Yo. There she goes. Fuck. Stay on, baby. Come on. Ooh, that's a big mama. That's a good fish, guys. Stay on. That is a good fish. She wants nothing to do with coming above. Oh my God. Yo. Oh man. Look at that fish. I gotta go get my tape, man. It's a beauty. It's a freaking crazy fish. Only 17 inches, but she's so fat. That's a beautiful fish, man. Fishing moving water, and man, these fish are plentiful. This is such a cool fishing experience. Such a beauty. It's just like, dang. I'm gonna let her go. Go ahead, mama. Go ahead, mama. This is stupid. Oh, back to the water. Why do you feel it? There's some rapids? Ooh, stay down. That is a good fish. Ah! Oh my God, that was a big fish. Oh my God. They're still here. Such a beauty, man. Probably a 1 pounder, but it's just so gorgeous. Such a gorgeous fish. She was a beaut. Long cast, maybe that's the ticket. Ooh, stay down. That is a good fish. Ah! Oh my God, that was a big fish. Oh my God. Stay on, baby. Come on. Ooh, that's a big mama. That's a good fish, guys. Stay on. That is a good fish. She wants nothing to do with coming above. Oh my God.